I was sat in the back seat of my dad's car, a Yusuf's taxi as his customers call it, stared out the window thinking of how strangers fill my father's car with more stories and laughter in one day than I have shared words with him all week. His tasbih hangs off the rear-view mirror, which he does not have to hold to do zikr, the sat-nav on his dashboard, an ornament. He drives past the pub that used to be a park he played in, and he smiles. He sees two versions of this town, one stored in his memory and the other muted on Google Maps. His customer stories leave a print on his memory foam seats, and his mind absorbs them too. He recalls them from the potholes and the traffic lights always green for him, turn red to hear him speak again. I asked my dad how he knows all the shortcuts of roads in towns I've never seen. He laughs and says, "Putter, you have a degree in English and I have a degree in driving." We pass the corner shop, the playground, the kids' screams, and I hear, "I bet your dad's a taxi driver. Taxi driver, taxi driver." They run laps around the playground, closing in on me. I think of how they'd rather see a taxi driver than a profanity. As my words begin to formulate, they vanish like his diesel emissions. I say, "Yeah, my dad drives. He does do taxi. That doesn't mean I get free lifts, but all he does is lift me. It means I hid his job and livelihood in a cab-sized shadow of shame. I made him wait outside of parents' evenings and took my sister instead. Would have rather swallowed shame and guilt than to walk with him because his slight limp and worn-out shoes said more words in English than he could spew. And I didn't want his English to respond to how I was doing in English. But I would still chew and swallow the dal his money put on a plate for us. Could handle the curry but not extend a courtesy towards my father, whose back hurts often, feet are swollen, whose knees bend in salah but hurt in a seat, whose hands grasp the wheel, white knuckles but palms still brown when they are cupped for pounds that'll create pakore, that create a well of tears when he makes dua. His hopeful heart waits for his kids to get a degree, so he can have a box full of baggage in his boot the next time a customer asks, "What is it your children do?" And his smiles are a sacrifice, his hands proud on the wheel that his fingers have molded to, that his taxi driving career has allowed his daughters to be. He's not ashamed. He never has been. I carry the guilt he's never felt, and I am ashamed of ever carrying shame. So when I get this degree, I owe it all to you and the taxi drivers I had conversations with on the way to school. But I am proud now, Abuji. I know of the times that you were called instead of an ambulance, how you faced black eyes by bastards because you had kids to come home to. I am sorry that I wrote poetry about rickshaw, using adjectives to boast about their colours, yet I have failed to write about a taxi. But Dad, I am. I am proud to be a taxi driver's daughter. And I tell every Uber driver that my dad does taxis too. And they feel at ease because I don't care whether their kids have degrees. I just like knowing my dad does taxis, and that's enough conversation for me. We're his success story, but he's ours through and through.